There's a moment in your bones when the fire takes over. Blood is running, heart is pumping as the battle gets closer. They can say what they want now, 'cause we'll be screaming out, we can be heroes everywhere we go. We can have all that we ever want. Swinging like Ali, rocking our bodies, standing on top like a champion. Keep your silver, give me that gold. You'll remember when I say we can be heroes everywhere we go. Keeping us down is impossible. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our celebration of 100 years of Alpine Canada and our top 5 peak moments in Canadian alpine ski history. I'm Scott Russell of CBC Sports, and those were tremendous images as we reflect on so much alpine greatness in our country. Thanks to Tim Thompson, one of our producers at CBC Sports, for putting those images together. You know, over the ski year, we've considered 100 peak moments in alpine ski history in our country. And there's so much to consider. When you think about things like Karen Percy, who won 2 medals at the home games at the Calgary Games in 1988 in alpine skiing. When you think about Kathy Kreiner, who won a gold medal in the giant slalom at the 1976 Olympics in Innsbruck, Austria. When you think about Lauren Wollstonecroft, who won 5 gold medals at the Paralympic Winter Games at home at Vancouver, Whistler, BC. John Kuchera, who won that landmark downhill world championship in 2009. And Eric Gay, who won the gold medal at the World Championships in the Super G in 2017 and had the silver medal in the downhill. So much great alpine ski history. And on this show, we're going to count down the top 5 peak moments, and we're going to get down to one as selected by you. And at the end of the show, we'll have a special guest reveal that top peak moment in Canadian alpine ski history. So connect with us, type in the comment bar, and tell us where you're watching this from. And also tell us who you might think your top 5 moment is in Canadian alpine ski history. Let's talk about champions right now and bring her in. She is the president and CEO of Alpine Canada, and she's an Olympic champion in ice hockey, a many-time world champion in ice hockey, and she's doing great things for Alpine Canada. So much to celebrate. Let's welcome in Therese Bresson. Therese, how you doing? And boy, this is really great. You know, it's been a strange season, but we're getting to celebrate all those great moments, aren't we?
Yeah, no, Scott, it really has been terrific in a year where it's been quite challenging to have ski racing domestically and even more challenging overseas. You know, we're just so proud to celebrate Canada's rich history and tradition of ski racing excellence and so many great moments that we've been able to celebrate over the past year as we truthfully carve our path for the next century. And so it's been a really wonderful time to celebrate and engage Canadians in a really meaningful way.
I like the fact that you engaged Canadians. This has been something that's a passion in our country for a very long time. I know that you're an avid skier as well as a hockey player. But, you know, this is something that we do right across the country, from Marble Mountain in Newfoundland and Labrador in the east to Whistler Blackcomb and Supernatural BC in the west. We do it at Brookvale in Prince Edward Island. We do it at Blue Mountain in Ontario, at Blackstrap in Saskatchewan. Everywhere in this country, every province and territory, we are alpine skiers. This is something that is kind of bred in the bone as far as Canadians are concerned, isn't it?
Absolutely. Canada's a winter sport nation, as you know, and thriving in winter, not just surviving, is very much part of our national identity. And what better way to express this than speed on an edge going downhill on snow? And yes, it is absolutely everywhere. And I'll tell you, we really enjoyed, you know, all the discussion, the debate, having fans vote for their favorite. there are so many great moments, and it's really hard to pick the top one. And so it's really exciting to hear fans have their say.
Tell us a little bit about the process, Therese. You had to get it down originally to 100 moments, and I remember talking to Brian Stemmel about this. It took some time to get to 100 because there was so much to consider.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, our heartfelt thanks go out to, first of all, our partners, and that amazing committee of technical experts and historians who made possible what has turned out to be a real amazing digital legacy of 100 years of ski racing history. And for sure, it was tough. There were many great moments and debates, and now fans get to choose and to vote for their favorites. So it was definitely a process. And one of the unexpected outcomes was this wonderful legacy that we have now for the last 100 years of ski racing history. And I'll tell you that as we celebrate this year, we can't wait till start making history for the next century.
I'd like you to speak to that because World Cup finals are going on in Lenzerheide, Switzerland. They're finishing up ski cross racing in Vézenay. It's been a strange season, not only for the Canadian athletes, but for all alpine racers as we've had to deal with the pandemic. How are you feeling about how Canadian athletes have performed in this very strange season, Therese?
Yeah, I mean, our goal was to maintain and try to move forward in rankings and make progress going to an Olympic year. It's never been more clear than this year that we're at a great competitive disadvantage with most of the racing going on over a year in Europe. And one of the things I can say is that we're just so very proud of our athletes, our teams and coaches who've shown the way, in fact, for all Canadians on how to live through a pandemic. They are using their creativity and demonstrating resilience every day. And there's been some really great stories from, Marie Michel making, podium for the first time in speed events, to our young men's speed team, coming forth at World Championships in a couple of events, to our ski cross team. And seeing Reese Howden break through on the podium the way he has this year has just been terrific. And so, yeah, there's been some really great stories, and we're very proud of the team and the coaches and how we've performed this year. And we have great optimism going into an Olympic year.
All right, let's get a little bit personal about this now, Therese. As you can see in the background, I've got my skis ready to go. That was a hat given to me by the Canadian Cowboys. Eric Gay, I think it was, handed me that hat. And so I'm going to get maybe 2 more days in at Blue Mountain. I'll go down Dr. Doug and Happy Valley. I ski the Blue Cruisers and all that, but I'll be out there. Are you going to get any more time in, Therese, on the slopes this season?
Well, I sure hope so. We have some camps coming up at Sunshine, with our ski cross and our para program that I hope to get out to. I have to tell you, I was just out at Sunshine on Sunday. And so it's been really wonderful for me personally, reconnecting with something I haven't had a chance to do in a long time. I have a real passion for the mountains, and to be back on skis after all those years really not being allowed to ski when I was an athlete playing hockey. It's been terrific. So I hope to get a few more days in, and I wish you the best of luck that we don't run out of winter for you getting some days in as well.
Absolutely. And all right, I just got the word from our producer, Tanya, that a favorite of yours, a favorite of mine, of every Canadian ski racing fan is ready to join us now. And I'm talking, Therese, about Canada's female athlete of the 20th century. She is a World Cup legend. She's also an Olympic champion, 1968, Grenoble, France, when she won the gold medal in the giant slalom. And you know what? She's so special because she is the first to carry Canada's brand new flag into an Olympic Games in 1968 in Grenoble, the beautiful maple leaf with the red bars at either end. Of course, I'm talking about the wonderful Nancy Green-Rain. Nancy, welcome to this celebration of 100 years of Alpine Canada. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Scott, and it's really nice to be with you all and to all the ski fans across the country. Yeah, this is a pretty exciting time. 100 years, that's a long way back, more than me.
Listen, and Nancy, I have to get this out. It is St. Patrick's Day. Your name is Nancy Green Rain. I notice you're wearing red today. That's the Canadian color, but happy St. Patrick's Day. Listen, are you totally encouraged about where we're going with ski racing in this country? I know we're rebuilding a little bit, but you've seen so much over the years through the Nancy Green Ski League and all of your legacy. Are you encouraged by what's happening right now?
Well, I am, because I'm watching some really great up-and-comers entering onto the World Cup stage. I mean, we had Cassidy Gray in her first ever World Cup race actually score points. So there's some amazing things happening. From where I sit out at Sun Peaks, it's been a tough year because our athletes haven't been able to race. They've been training hard, and when I watch them, I see all kinds of technical improvements. I know they're studying videos of the great racers of today, and they have their goals set high. And I'm very happy, Therese, with your great leadership. We as Alpine Canada and all the fans in the country know that our athletes have a chance to go after their goals. And that's what it's all about, giving them the opportunity. And if they're lucky and all goes well, then they're going to score the podiums for Canada. And we've had so many great racers over the years, and each and every one of them has been special.
Hey, Therese, how about you? A final word before we bid adieu. You're a fan of Nancy Green Rain, aren't you?
One of the first calls I made when I joined Alpine Canada, and I'm just, so blessed and fortunate to have her advice, her counsel. We're trying to do, we should be on the podium. Canada should be on the podium. And this is all about helping our athletes, teams, and coaches reach their full potential. And to have, Nancy's, first of all, leadership in delivering that herself, but her guidance, her mentorship is so much appreciated. And, we were very optimistic about our future. We have challenges ahead, but today is about celebrating the last 100 years for sure. I want to thank the almost 14 million Canadians who, we reached with this program, and over 600,000 actually engage with the content. And so with that, I'm very encouraged and optimistic about our future.
Hey, Therese, thanks so much for that. You're doing great work. Best of luck to the Canadian skiers at the World Cup finals in Lenzerheide and at those ski cross finals in Vaisonnet. And again, thanks so much for your commitment to Alpine Canada and ski racing in the country.
Thanks, Scott, and thanks again, Nancy. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Therese Bresson, who is the president and CEO of Alpine Canada. All right, Nancy, let's get down to it. Our top 5 peak moments. As you know, we're working our way towards the peak moment from 100 years of Alpine Canada. And so many moments involved, as we talked about. And again, to our viewers, please type in the comment bar, tell us where you're watching from and who you think might be the top 5 moment. Somebody just wrote Nancy Green. She is so cool. You know who that was? Type that, Nancy. Steve Podborski. I think you know that guy. All right. Listen, here we go. In no particular order, and maybe, Nancy, you could have a little reflection on each of these moments. In no particular order, let's start with 1992 in the Olympic Winter Games in Albertville, France, Maribel, the Roc de Fer course. Karen Lee Gartner wins gold in the downhill. She is the only Canadian, man or woman, to win Olympic gold in the downhill ski race. How about Karen Lee Gartner, Nancy?
I remember that moment so well. My husband and I had set the alarm the night before to get up early and watch the race. The alarm went off, a CBC voice saying, upset victory for Canada's Karen Lee Gartner. And we jumped out of bed and flew to the TV. And I mean, it was amazing. It wasn't really expected, but I knew that Karen was ready, and I knew she had what it takes. And it was absolutely thrilling to see her come through on one of the toughest courses in the toughest conditions. And yeah, it was great. I mean, I grew up knowing Karen. Her dad and my father used to ride to work together. When she was 3 years old, she and her mom came down for tea with my mom, and she put her my gold medal around her neck and declared at age 3, I'm going to win my own gold medal. And she wasn't denied.
True to her word. And it was so great to be able to work with Karen for so many years, calling ski racing at CBC Sports. All right, our next moment, the Crazy Canucks. What a legendary group of racers. Ken Reed, Dave Murray, Dave Irwin, Steve Podborski, at the beginning of that, Jungle Jim Hunter, and then, of course, Todd Brooker in 1983 was the last of 4 consecutive wins at the Great Hahnenkamm Downhill at Kitzbühel. These were, well, they lived up to their name, Nancy. They were the Crazy Canucks, hell-bent for leather.
It was an amazing group of young men with great coaching and a great spirit, and they really stunned the Europeans. But I remember the day that Todd won. I happened to be in Kitzbühel that day. I happened to have a chance to go up. I stood on the course right where that last big jump was. And I stood in the position. The coaches let me stand there. I could have touched him as he went by. And the coaches had nailed that spot in the training for years. And the next year when they went down, there was an Austrian soldier standing in that one place where you could see the landing and the takeoff on the most important jump. And I mean, the Austrians, they had an advantage. It was their home.
Fantastic. Our next moment, and these have been created by some wonderful champions. Chris Williamson of Edmonton, Alberta. He was the winningest World Cup racer on the IPC circuit. He won 105 medals, 56 races. He was a Paralympic champion, a visually impaired skier. But on January the 11th, 2011, he won a race in Italy, a technical race, and it was the 100th World Cup IPC medal of his career, the first and only racer to do that. What a story, Chris Williamson.
Yeah, what a story. And he was such a great technical skier and just amazing. And he had, of course, his brother was guiding him. I think it was his brother, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But, that's amazing. I mean, where I live at Sun Peaks, we have a great adaptive sports program. And we actually have 2 residents that are blind and are skiing on our slopes all the time with guides. But, I just have nothing but respect for the Paralympic athletes and the para-alpine athletes. What they do, what they have to overcome, and their spirit, it's unbelievable.
And speaking of great Paralympic athletes, Viviane Foray is our next moment at the home games, the Paralympic Winter Games in Vancouver Whistler in 2010. You know all about that, Nancy. And, Viviane at that time was making her debut at the Winter Games. She had been a Paralympic champion twice at the Summer Games in goalball. Then she won 5 medals at Vancouver Whistler in 2010, including gold in the downhill visually impaired skiing once again. Her guide was Lindsay Deboo, and she became the first Canadian para-athlete to win gold at both the Winter and Summer Games.
And what a remarkable athlete, and so much courage. And that downhill in Whistler was very, very difficult. I think it was more difficult in the Paralympics than it was in the regular Olympics. Just conditions were tough, and she showed no fear. And I have a very, very special memory of Viviane, because later in her career, she came to Sun Peaks for the Para-Alpine Championships one year. And she asked me between runs of the slalom, would I guide her for her last run? She had decided to retire, and it was going to be her last race down a race course. And I said, Viviane, I can't do that. I've never done it before. She said, just go as fast as you can down the course. Don't worry, nothing will happen. And she already had a big lead. So I'm going down the course, and I hear in my earphones, go faster, go faster. And I say in the microphone, I can't. And she was incredible. She is
fantastic.
Incredible.
Viviane Foray. All right, our last moment, and again, no particular order here. These are the ski cross racers from the 2018 Olympic Winter Games. Brady Lehman of Calgary won the gold medal on the men's side. First time Canada had won a gold medal in men's ski cross. And then on the women's side, Kelsey Surwa of Kelowna, BC wins the gold medal. She had won silver in 2014 in Sochi. And right behind her in the silver medal position in Pyeongchang was Britt Phelan of Mont-Tremblant, Quebec. They were called the Dirt Squirrels. And boy, the ski cross racers have really been a story, Nancy, for Canada during their Olympic history.
No, and Pyeongchang was absolutely incredible. When you think there were 6 Olympic medals up for grabs, and Canada got 3 of them. And of course, most people know that Al and I, my husband and I, were, of course, very much supportive of ski cross. Our son Willie was instrumental in building the program, and of course, he was there for those medals. And yeah, that was huge. That, I don't know if that'll ever happen again. One country to win half the medals. It was amazing, and every one of those athletes are just wonderful people. Super Canadians, super givers, and great. So our ski cross program is still one of the best. And of course, right now, Bryce Howden has sewed up the World Cup for this year with a huge lead, and the women are doing well too. So yeah, everything's great.
Yep, wonderful athletes, and we're going to have a chance to speak with all of those top 5 moments. But let's get Nancy to a little clip from our first moment that we'll consider, and then bring on 2 of these guys. Let's roll this, producer Tanya. Here are the Crazy Canucks.
No one could catch Reed this day. He became the first North American man to win a World Cup downhill. A win for one is a win for the group.
Right now, the rest of the team and many of the international skiers are saying that Ken Reed is the best downhiller in the world.
By European standards, it's a small team with unorthodox methods.
The fact is, Canada has 4 skiers as good or better than any in the world.
Oh, yeah, weren't they great? The Crazy Canucks, the 1970s and 1980s. 2 of them are here right now. Dave Irwin, Steve Podborski, and once again, the group included Jungle Jim Hunter at the outset, Dave Murray, Ken Reed, of course, and then that last of the 4 wins at Kitzbühel, 1983, Todd Brooker. It was Ken Reed that won in 1980, Steve in 1981 and 82, and Todd Brooker in 1983. Dave Irwin, by the way, won at Schladming back in the 70s for the Crazy Canucks. And I know, Dave, you grew up skiing on the beautiful icy slopes of Loch Lomond near Thunder Bay, Ontario. What great memories do you have, Dave, of the Crazy Canuck era?
Well, that whole thing is phenomenal. You know, Bill Irwin, my dad, created Loch Lomond Ski Club, and I started living there. It was very steep and all that, like you said. But also I had Doug and Dan Irwin, who followed me on the national ski team where I was for a long time. And then in 1975, the Crazy Canucks started when Ken Reed won Canada's first male win on the World Cup downhill at Val d'Isère. And then 2 weeks later, I followed my win at Schladming, Austria. It was just a phenomenal time. That whole thing was great.
Hey, Steve, we talked about Kitzbühel, and you said to me at the time, you said, you look out that start gate and you say, no way, I'm not doing it. And then it's a leap of faith is what you do. You first won that race in 1981, the year after Ken won it. And, we're going to show a little visual of this, but what was it like to make that leap of faith, Steve?
Well, by the time you finally get to the race, you're somewhat convinced that it's actually doable. Although you can see, from this actual race is famous on YouTube for the horror falls that all came following this. There were a lot of guys that fell down in this race. It was really rough and nasty. It's just way worse than anybody has ever told you, because there's no words to describe how challenging that race course is, and how much fun it is to make it to the finish first. Turning around and looking at the scoreboard and going, yeah, that's a good thing.
It's a good thing that you're still standing, right, Steve?
I hurt my knee again yesterday. It's a little achy. I also wrecked my knee there 10 days before the Olympics in 1976 and missed them. And Irwin in there did really well with a head injury. I mean, we battled through a lot of different injuries and tough times, but in the end, you remember the good stuff, and the Crazy Canucks rocked.
Well, Nancy, like, were you just, you'd been on the World Cup and you'd done so, but were you thrilled to watch these guys? I mean, as a spectator, to watch these guys race, and again, that attitude that they had, and the Europeans loved it, was they just went for it.
Yeah, well, my husband Al was the head coach program director at the time, so we were watching them come up, and you could just see that it was all coming together. But I want these guys to say, I want to hear the story, because I've heard it all secondhand. What was it like when, I don't know if it was Scotty or John Ritchie, said, "Here's your new downhill suits," and they were yellow, and nobody ever wore a yellow suit? What was that like?
You want to go on this one? I mean, they were better than the ones before, so that just shows you they're a giant step forward. And I called them gold. I thought they were gold, which is a good color.
Yes, gold.
And the yellow was a very bright color, and our old video cameras, they stood up very well compared to the gray suits or all that we had before. So the yellow suit was very phenomenal, I thought, for us as well, because we stood up on TV and on video cameras and all that, and they really worked well. And it was kind of nice because we were Canadians and different. Like, we were so much different than those Europeans. It was phenomenal. They had years and years and years, decades of winning on the World Cup. And then along come the Canadians. We were nothing. And then Ken Reid wins the first World Cup in 1975, and that was phenomenal. And then I won mine 2 weeks later and all that. And then Poborski came along a few years later and won the overall World Cup victory for the World Cup. That was phenomenal what Steve did, and he proved he was by far Canada's best skier on the World Cup. I'm
glad that you bring this up, Dave, because you talk. We were nothing. The Canadians were nothing, and yet by the time this started to roll out, the Canadians were really creating a stir. And we got a little bit of a throwback clip here when the interviewer talks to Ken Reid, and Ken shows maybe the Crazy Canucks have got a little bit of swagger. Take a look at this.
There's David Murray. There's Dave Irwin, Steve Poborski, and the team's leader, Ken Reid.
No, you're near the top, and we're here, and everybody knows who you are.
We are at the top.
Sorry. Sorry.
But we've been at the top for 4 or 5 years now, and it's as if, well, it's like you said, now that you're near the top, but that's not the case. We are at the top, and we have been for almost half a decade.
Steve, I mean, we are at the top. I mean, you guys did create a stir, right? I mean, there's a beautiful story. I mean, I've been to Kitzbühel, and up the top of the gondola, and if you win that race, your name's on the gondola car. And but you did create a sort of, well, I don't want to call it a cult following, but you were big news in Europe, right?
Oh no, there was cultish things going on. It was all very strange. A couple of 4 guys from various small towns across Canada, and you get parachuted into Europe and fast cars and big mountains and ski racing, and then you figure out how to actually be the best at it. It was crazy. It's sort of like Formula One. I mean, lots of crazy people around, and all they want to do is tell you how great you are. And after a while, you figure it out that all you got to do is just keep winning the races. And a stir, yes, because if you were like from I don't know, Jamaica and started playing the NHL with a whole team, like the Jamaican hockey team, that's pretty much what we're talking about here. Like, who the heck are these guys? What are they doing here? Put them back on the hockey rink. And I love Therese, but, and she's got it right. You got your ski on edge, you get your hockey skiing on edge, and away you go. We figured it out. Yeah, it was fun. But they were like, what the heck is this? Hey, they speak German and French, and they win. It's great.
Before I let you go, maybe from each of Dave and Steve, we are turning the corner. It's a new generation of Canadian speed racers coming. The Canadian Cowboys are.
I'm in a different building, Scott. Honestly,
yeah,
a whole different building, not a corner, but a building out the door.
Yeah. But based on all that you've seen, and what you did, and what's gone after you. What's your best advice for this next generation that comes? Guys like Jack Crawford and Brody Seeger and Roderick Thompson. I mean, they're all 22, 23 years of age. What's your best advice? Steve, why don't you start it?
My advice is that the road has been blazed, that you can, and really just take all the best of the people around you and do more than you ever thought you could. And it's doable. And persistence is good, having a few knee operations along the way and car crashes. And, I wrote a book once. They said, can you take some car crashes out? It's just really hard to be the best in the world. So buckle up for the long haul and get great leadership and ski fast.
Dave, how about you?
Well, I'm proud to be part of Canada's ski racing community and part of Alpine Canada's 100th anniversary of celebrations this year. And it was an amazing, amazing past. And now they're creating the new future, the young Canadian skiers. And these guys are awesome on the mountain. And my memory's a little shades, so I can't talk like Steve did. It was so interesting what's happening, how it is. It's phenomenal what's happening now on the national ski team. And these guys are great. And also we did something in the past, but so what? Let's look at the future.
Oh, boy.
Hey, well said. Well said. Hey, Dave Irwin, Steve Podborski. Thanks so much, guys. The Crazy Canucks.
Thanks, Nance.
You guys are fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, man, that was great, Nancy. I love that. I got a quick story before we bring our next moment in. I grew up and went to secondary school at a place called Victoria Park Secondary School in Don Mills, Ontario. And every Friday night, a school bus would roll up. This is during the winter, of course, and they would take us, for those who wanted to go, to the Don Valley Ski Club, Nancy, which was right on the Parkway near to downtown Toronto. And the guy that went to our rival school, Don Mills Collegiate, that was Steve Podborski. And if you were lucky, on a Friday night, you might run into Steve Podborski on the Don Valley Ski Club. Boy, he was a great one. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
And that ski hill was built just on the up above the freeway there, the Parkway, and he was right in the city limits of Toronto. And it was a really, really small hill, but kids that start on those tiny little hills, they get started and they get a dream. And Alpine Canada's job is to let that dream flourish.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fantastic. You talk about Steve coming from the Craig Lee Ski Club, and there's Dave Irwin from Loch Lomond near Thunder Bay. They ski the ice, they ski everything, and that's the way to go for Alpine Canada. All right, our next moment, we're going to bring her in right now. She won 5 medals at the Paralympic Winter Games in Vancouver Whistler in 2010, and she's in Edmonton, Alberta. She's a native of Montreal, Quebec. Boy, what an athlete. Viviane Foray is with us right now. Viviane, welcome to our show. Congratulations. What memories do you have, Viviane, of those debut Winter Games where you come through with 5 medals for Team Canada in Vancouver Whistler?
It was amazing, like just the opportunity to perform in front of Canadian. Like it's a unique chance as an athlete to have 5 medals. That was also unbelievable, especially that I kind of did fail quite hard right after the finish line in the downhill run. So I was more than happy to came back home with 5 medals and to be able to share this with all the Canadian. And it was an amazing journey, actually. And the legacy that we left behind for the future Paralympian and all those athletes that follow after us, it's amazing. They're still training in Whistler like full time. It's the base home now.
Yeah, Nancy was telling the story that you actually had a chance to urge her on a little bit when she was on course. Tell us about what that was like to be able to ski with Nancy Greenrain.
It's an amazing honor. Like Nancy Green is, for my generation, you're the top, right? You're the female athlete that we're all looking for. So, I mean, to be able to retire and to have you to accept to guide me down that last run that I raced was fantastic. I believe we skied together a few years later in Sun Peak again for a fun event there. And always a pleasure to visit with Nancy.
Yeah, listen, Vivian, if you ever want to come back, we'd love to have you back anytime. We miss you.
Absolutely. Oh, we miss Sun Peak as well. It's our favorite place.
Vivian, I do want to show a clip, and it was interesting because you won that gold medal and became the first Canadian to win Paralympic gold at the Summer Games and then at the Winter Games. You won the gold medal in the downhill. But the finish of the race, Vivian, was quite something because, here you are with your guide, Lindsay Deboo, and you're winning this race, Vivian, and then you get to the finish line, and then, you had been in the race with a bad ankle to start, and then you get across the finish line, and here's what happens. This is the crash that a lot of people remember. Once you get across here at Whistler, right into the bumpers, and you ended up with a broken wrist and a concussion. But then, Vivian, you come back and you ski 2 days later, 2 more races, and you win 2 more medals. What were you thinking?
I believe it was just pure insanity. I'm not sure I was thinking that much, actually. Lindsay was helping me so much, to push me in a positive way to continue. And we worked so hard all those years, and it's one chance we got, so it's like we can't miss it. I was bruised pretty much from head to toe when I get back to Edmonton after those games, but what of a ride.
What a great ride. 5 medals in all, Vivian. And I know you were on the same team as Lauren Wollstonecroft, who won 5 gold medals at those Paralympic Winter Games. Chris Williamson is the subject of our next moment, and he was also at those games. And Chris Williamson was one of the great World Cup para-alpine skiers in history. And here's a quick look at Chris Williamson.
Alpine racers regularly top 100 kilometers per hour. Chris Williamson does it with only 6% vision.
I've been skiing since I've been 3. I've been visually impaired the whole time too, so I probably don't get as many worries as if somebody had vision and then lost it suddenly and they know what they've lost. I do ski with a guide in front of me for races, so what we do is I follow his shape through the course and we have some communication with the radios. But other than that, we ski, especially in downhill, at over 100 kilometers an hour.
Oh, there he is. Chris Williamson joins the show. Hey, Chris, I think you're in Toronto. Am I right, Chris?
Yeah, just outside Toronto.
Hey, fantastic. Congratulations on being one of the top 5 peak moments for Alpine Canada, 100 years of history. I guess the moment that we're focusing on, Chris, is 2011, January 11th. You win the technical race in Italy. That's your 100th IPC World Cup medal, the first IPC skier to do that. And what a career, though, when you think about 105 medals, 56 wins, 8 Crystal Globes. You're a Paralympic champion. Tell us about the ride, Chris, and how much it was a part of your life.
Oh, it was an amazing sort of period in my life. I got to travel the world, met tons of fabulous people, and sort of, it's funny that you had, before Vivian and I, on the Crazy Canucks, because I grew up watching them. And then in my first time I won the World Cup overall for downhill, the person who handed it to me was Steve Podborski. So it sort of went full circle with that, being the first Canadian to win an overall downhill, and then giving me my first overall. It was sort of something very special in that moment. But it was an amazing career, and I can tell you I couldn't have done it without all my friends, families, and especially my guides and all the teammates I had, which through the 17 years I was on the national team.
You know, your dad was a speed skater and a cyclist. He competed at the Olympic Winter Games in 1968, I believe, in speed skating, and he went on to coach people like, you know, Mike Ireland out of Winnipeg and Clara Hughes, who became such great Canadian champions. Chris, how did you get into alpine skiing? I mean, did you ever want to be a speed skater?
I did. I was actually, speed skating was my main career athletically when I was young, and skiing was just a passionate hobby. Other than speed skating, the other side of my family owned a ski store in Winnipeg, and my dad also managed the Spring Hill Ski Center just outside of Winnipeg as well. So I'd ski there whenever I had a free moment. Then I went to the Canada Games in speed skating in 1987. But then after breaking my leg twice in short track, I decided, you know what, skiing might be safer. So I decided to go, you know, over 100 kilometers an hour going down a hill instead.
Fantastic, and what a terrific career, both you and Viviane, Paralympic champions, such great Canadian alpine champions. Nancy, anything you want to say to these two before we let them go and say so long? They are truly great moments in Canadian ski history.
I'd just like to say thank you, both of you, for the great memories you've made for all of us, and good luck, because it really has been wonderful to be a supporter and to be watching you.
Two great Canadian champions, Viviane Foray, Chris Williamson. Thanks so much for joining us as we celebrate 100 years of Alpine Canada.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're moving on to our next moment. But before we do that, Nancy, I want you to stay on the line, obviously, and bring in my current partner, calling ski racing at CBC Sports. You know, great World Cup career, just a great guy to cover ski racing and to tell stories about it. So enthusiastic and so knowledgeable about the sport, and went a long way towards collecting these 100 great alpine moments. So Brian Stemmel is going to come on board right now. And I know there he is with the fireplace in the background, and he's got that cowboy hat there. Great to see you, Brian. It's been so much fun reminiscing with Nancy and with all of these great moment makers. How tough was that for you as you tried to get down to 100, Brian?
Well, first of all, great sweater, Nancy. I love it. Dale of Norway. Thanks, Bruce Legree. 100 years of ski racing. There it is.
It's available on the Alpine Canada's website.
Yeah, it was really difficult choosing. I didn't realize how many there were, and once I went through it, I went, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to choose the best, or the top 5 or top 50 even?" There were so many, but Nancy was definitely at the top of my list, and it was a thrill to do, because it makes you realize how much history we have, much more than other sports. I think it's gone back for so long. We've had winners throughout the time as the 100 years have gone by, so it was a real thrill to do.
Fantastic, and I can appreciate it. You know, we talked at the top about, you know, moments that were not in the top 5, the ones that we're marking today, and going down to the peak moment. You know, I mentioned, you know, Eric Gay winning gold and silver at the World Championships in the Super G and the downhill in the same year. John Kuchera wins that downhill world championship. Lucille Wheeler, Anne Hegveit, and so many others that were involved here. And I even think back to Lauren Wollstonecroft, won those 5 gold medals in 2010 at the Paralympic Winter Games, and not even in a top 5. But that's the fickle nature of alpine ski fans and fans as they vote for everything. But we do have so much to celebrate in alpine skiing. All right, let's bring in our next great moment. What a great champion, colleague of ours over the years, the only Canadian to win the downhill at the Olympic Winter Games. And she did it in 1992 at the Roc de Fer at Maribel, France. What a great victory that was. And Karen Lee Gartner is coming on the show. There she is right there. Hi, Karen. And before we even start this, we have to say congratulations to Oma. There she is. She's a grandmom now. Way to go, Karen. You and Max must be just so happy.
Oh, we are absolutely thrilled. And it's interesting because I retired on March 17th, 1994, and my daughter was born that December. And then now we're grandparents this many years later. So awesome experience.
Karen, let's go back to that race in 1992. And it was such a difficult track. You had been through a lot already in your ski career, reconstruction on the knees and so forth. And on that day, you surpassed some pretty great people when you think about Chantal Bournisson and Petra Kronberger and Katja Seisinger and all the rest. And you came down wearing bib number 12, and I'll never forget your reaction. I mean, it was absolutely wonderful. What was that like? I mean, I know it's cliche, but what was that feeling like to nail it on that day?
I can't say that I ever really dreamt further than the finish line. So I know there's people that say you prepare, plan your celebration, know that you're going to win. I didn't do that. I dreamt big. I wore Nancy's medals when I was a little girl, played dress up with them. I really did dream about the Olympics. In '88, I didn't win, but I was inspired by Karen Percy. When your teammate's successful, and Karen stood on the podium and won those 2 bronze medals, jealousy is not the right word. Might be a little bit at the time, but it was really more pure awe, and it was like feeding my belief. So for me that day at the Olympics, I stayed process oriented. I was in it until 30 seconds right before, and I was really nervous. And the start coach, Carl, snapped me right out of that, laughed. Of course, I was nervous. It's the biggest race of my life. And then I didn't think again at all. One mistake partway down, and I cursed and then said, come on. That was my refocus. And right before the finish line, as I reached, was when my thought happened. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. And then I crossed the line and nobody was really cheering. And I don't know why that surprised me, except I wasn't in Calgary anymore. I was in France. Of course, they wanted the French on the podium. And all of a sudden, when I saw number 1, it was all automatic. There was no plan to any of the squealing or the dancing or the screaming or who does that. But I just didn't think anyone was going to beat me after that, which was a mistake because they came very close. But I guess I just believed long enough. Wearing Nancy's medals probably inspired me as a little 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old. And, it's called make belief, not make believe in my world.
Nancy, there's the picture, Karen, with the gold medal. And, you talked about that at the top of the show, Nancy, that she did wear your medal and she said, I'm going to get one on my own. And as a fan, when you saw it happen, is that the first thing that came to mind? And wow, she was true to her word.
I didn't realize she'd been going down and wearing it so often. The ribbons are half worn out. But Karen, you say playing make believe, but believing is everything. And that's why I love that song from the 2010 Olympics about that believe song that was like an anthem for those games. and it really does make a difference. It's an inner thing, and every one of us that's experienced that knows that there's a power in that harness.
Brian, huge win, the only Canadian to win the downhill at the Olympics. You too were a fan of that, and at one point in time you're a teammate of Karen Lee Gardner. But that must have been very striking for someone who was so close to that.
Yeah, Karen talked about jealousy. I was definitely jealous because I just bombed out of my Olympics the week before, and I think I was in the airport in France on my way home trying to find a TV to watch. But I was so proud of her because I wanted one of us to do it because, yeah, as a skier, we are a team, even though it's men and women. You want to do something together, and I did feel like I was a part of it because we were such good friends. But I wondered, Karen, do you ever wonder about that 600th of a second that you beat Hillary Lynn by, and if that would have changed your life at all?
No, that's why I said when I crossed the line and I was leading, I didn't think anybody else was going to come down. I never once went back and went, what if I didn't have those 600s? Because the fact is, there were a lot of times I was second in my career by 100th or 200ths. And I just feel it comes out in the wash. I earned those 600s. I must have believed just that much more. I don't know. And I can't go back. I don't know what the magic is, except I never did stop believing, even when surgeons said, maybe you should stop. Your knees aren't going to work when you're older. I just loved competing that much. And you're right, Brian, we're a team. And that's why I say I don't think jealousy is quite the right word. It's not probably a flattering feeling when you feel it, but it's inspiring is what it is. And I felt that with Jerry Sorensen when she won the World Championships in 82, and watching Laurie Graham win so many World Cups, and Person 88. And, each time an athlete stands on the podium or does a great thing, you're just inspired by all those that have come before you. And Nancy's always said it, she wasn't the first, and she was inspired by those before, and it was like a torch being passed along. And I think it's really important that continuity from generation to generation and winner to winner, and even recovery to recovery. Brian, you've had, like we talk about top moments, you coming back from a really horrific injury. There's top moments that don't lead to gold. There are exceptional moments out there. And I think passing that experience on and that knowledge on is really important.
It was the closest downhill in Olympic history, the top five separated by 18 100ths of a second. And we've talked about this a lot, Karen, over the years when we were commentating on skiing. But you've often talked about the savage beauty of the sport. That there is a price to pay for some of these racers. Would you have traded that living on the edge for anything? Is it something that you will always have very fond memories of, in spite of its pitfalls?
Yeah, I can't change it. I am so sorry. I don't even know how to turn that off. I wouldn't change it for a thing. I mean, I dreamt of it as a little girl, and I didn't analyze the risks as a little girl. I didn't think, oh, everybody gets sore knees. Everybody has this. I didn't think about the brain injuries and how that could come back and almost haunt me and revisit me now. I wouldn't change it. That's the brain injuries crying right now, and that's okay. I wouldn't change that. It's created me who I am. Sorry, it just happens. Sometimes it'll go away. There's people that said maybe your brain wouldn't be like this if you didn't ski race from the car accident. And there's no question, injuries before they accumulate. And I just don't even know who I would have been without ski racing. That's really was my destiny.
Boy, what a great legacy too. And Karen, we thank you so much and congratulate you. And we're so happy that you're here. And we're gonna move on to our next great moment. I don't know how it tops that, but congratulations to you and your family, and good luck in your next chapter, which is being Oma, right?
Oh, it's awesome! I've already figured out how to crochet, so it's going well already.
And say hi to Max. That's fantastic. Thanks,
will.
Karen. Hey, let's bring on, and Nancy, are you okay to stay with us? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, fantastic. So let's bring on our next moment, and this is one third of the next great moment from Calgary, Alberta, Olympic ski cross champion in 2018 in Pyeongchang, South Korea. What a great story! 2010 at the home games, Vancouver Whistler. He was favored to win a medal, and then he had an accident in training and was injured and couldn't compete. 4 years later in Sochi, he gets to the big final, and then he crashes, finishes fourth, just misses a medal. But wire to wire in Pyeongchang in 2018, he's the gold medal champion, first Canadian man to do it at the Olympic Games in ski cross. Hey, Brady Lehman, are you there?
Hey, Scott.
How you doing? How are you doing?
How you doing? I'm good.
Yeah, I know your season's ended a little bit early, my friend, but how are we doing? How are we feeling? And how are you to be reflecting on that great victory in 2018?
Yeah, thanks. I'm good. Definitely a little bummed to be home so soon in the year, missing the last couple events, but it took a pretty nasty spill, but all things considered, body's hanging in there, so dodged a bullet, no surgery needed. Should be back up and running in kind of eight weeks or so here. So pretty good news there. I feel great. What an honor to be part of such a historic moment for Alpine Canada. It's been pretty cool. I've been on the road and traveling, and it's been such a difficult season to be on the road. I've really just been totally immersed in that, and to kind of come home and have the magnitude of all this kind of land in my lap here as soon as I finished with quarantine has been pretty cool.
Hey, those are great images, Brady. Those are taken by Kevin Light, who is an Olympic champion in rowing with the Canadian Eights in 2008, as you know. But great images of your victory in 2018. And Brian, I know you were in South Korea to see that victory, and maybe you want to check in with Brady here. You love ski cross racing, Brian, and I know it was particularly nice for you to see Brady win.
Yeah, I think if ski cross was around when I was racing, I would have been a ski cross racer, because I love the jumps and I love the side-by-side competition. And it's like skiing by yourself and skiing with four of your buddies inches apart. It enhances the experience so much more. So I got a lot of respect for the ski cross guys, and especially Brady. And I was there. After he got his gold medal put around his neck, I was there doing the interview right after. So I was the first one to see that gold medal up close, and it was a pretty special moment for you, Brady. I know your parents were there. So what was it like standing on that victory podium with the national anthem playing in Pyeongchang?
Yeah, it was totally surreal, for sure. It was something that I dreamed of since I was a little kid. My mom worked at Canada Olympic Park here in Calgary for years, and just growing up looking at the Olympic rings and the Olympic legacy of Calgary, that was always my biggest dream. And having it come true in Korea was amazing. And having been so close, especially in Sochi, like feeling like I had a medal just slipped through my fingers, made it that much more special 4 years later.
Nancy, you mentioned that Willie had been so involved with the Canadian Ski Cross program, and it must have been terrific for you to see Brady come through for the guys.
Yeah, he was one of the coaches from the 2010 games right through to Pyeongchang, and so we were following all the athletes and just watching you guys, and it was incredible. And I mean, I think when you think about it, the sport was pretty new, and the Canadians, and especially the top athletes that we had at that time and still do, have been at the forefront. And yeah, I'm with Brian. I think it's so much fun. We build a ski cross at Sun Peaks just for recreational skiers, and I love it. It's really fun to know where your competitor is right in front of you, or you're right behind them, and it's a totally different experience. So kudos to you and to the whole team, and it's really great to see that Rhys is got it sewn up this year for the World Cup. So it's amazing, and you guys are inspirational. Thanks.
Brady, What are we thinking about Beijing, Brady?
I'm thinking we should probably do it again.
Why not?
You can't possibly have more fun than winning Olympic gold medal. Like, it was just an absolute blast. So we might as well give it another shot.
Okay, that's fantastic. Now listen, I want to bring in the other 2/3 of this moment that we're celebrating, and for some reason, and they're going to tell us why, they call themselves the Dirt Squirrels, and here they are from Kelowna, BC. Kelsey Surwa. Kelsey won the gold medal in Pyeongchang in 2018. She'd been the silver medalist in Sochi in 2014, the gold medal, Marielle Thompson that year. And then right behind her in Pyeongchang, Britt Phelan from Mont-Tremblant, Quebec. And Britt roared back from 4th place in the big final and got close to Kelsey at the finish line into 2nd place. And then the celebration was on. They were best friends. And maybe, I don't know who wants to tell us why the Dirt Squirrels. What's with that?
Kels? Great, you want to take the lead on that one? So Britt is an amazing multi-sport athlete, and when she's not skiing or training for skiing, she's on a bike. So every day we come into the gym, and Britt would literally sometimes come in from a bike ride, full of dust, full of mud, and a plethora of new bruises on her arms, on her legs, on her hips, basically everywhere. So then I think that she started to get recognized as the Dirt Squirrel, and that's what I refer to her as, the little dirt squirrel. Squirrels, little woodland creatures running around the forest, and that's what I imagine Britt doing on her bike. So anyways, and I think just by association, the fact that we're pretty much glued at the hip, that name just got adopted to me too, by association.
Britt, I think it was the celebration of the Olympic Winter Games, certainly from a Canadian standpoint, having the two of you on the podium with that flag. There were tears, as there always are, but it was a great feeling of friendship between the two of you. Can you express what that's like for an athlete to be in that position, to be with somebody that you love and admire on top of the podium?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty surreal experience. I mean, it's been, my biggest dream from when I was 4 years old to win an Olympic medal, and to do it, alongside your best friend is like, yeah, that opportunity doesn't come around too often. So it was really cool that we were able to optimize on that opportunity. And it was really sweet going into the race. Both Kelsey and I said that, it's kind of cool that we have like 2 horses in the race. We have 2 chances to get on the podium, and to be so invested in someone else's results as if they were your own is like, it's pretty special. I mean, to be to want someone, your teammate, your competitor, to do as well as you want yourself to do is it is pretty special. So I think that took a lot of pressure off when we both made it to the final run. We knew one of us was going to end up on the podium that day with an Olympic medal. So that actually took a lot of pressure off myself, and we discussed it after, and Kelsey also, just knowing that we're four in the start gate and 3 we're gonna be on the podium. So before we even done our race, it felt like we had already won.
It was incredible because Nancy mentioned this at the top. In ski cross at those Olympic Winter Games, 6 medals, men and women, and Canada wins 3 of them. And then, you go back to the previous 2 Olympics in Vancouver and in Sochi, and Ashley McIver wins in 2010, and Marielle Thompson wins in 2014, and Kelsey, you win in 2018, and then Brady's there in 2018. What is it like to be part of such an evolving tradition, Kelsey? I mean, this is Canada's territory.
Absolutely. And Canada's always been dominant from the start. Brady and I came on in the 2nd year of the team, so 2009. And it was almost just the expectation that there would be a Canadian on the podium at every single race. So I think the standards were high. We had the best athletes to learn from in the world. And then I think what has made the team so strong over the years is passing down that knowledge, that expectation, that cooperation, that teamwork. When Britt came into ski cross, it was, you know, a whole new world opened up to me, in the sense that, you know, it's not just about winning races, it's about having a lot of fun along the way. So I think the power of a team is so important, and that's what Canada's really capitalized over the years.
Brian, I know you had at one point in your career a devastating injury. Britt is coming back from a pretty devastating knee injury, and it's great to see you back on snow and looking so great, Britt. I must say that. But Brian, maybe you want to talk to Britt about what her hopes are for Beijing. I think that Canada's going to be strong again, don't you, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely. And Kelsey talked about the team thing and the legacy that it leads, and knowledge from the team. And that happens with injuries too. You look at somebody else who gets injured and you know what, you say, oh, they came back from that injury. No problem. I can do the same. And, you know, Brady had that mountain bike injury as well earlier on. And it's just part of the process with ski racing. But I think that was my favorite moment in Pyeongchang Games was Kelsey and Britt's first and second. Like, forget Tess and Scott, forget the hockey. Sorry, Brady, it wasn't yours, but it was the women, because the course was so difficult. All of the women were falling, not all the women, a lot of the women were falling, and badly falling. And then I remember when it was like NASCAR, they had a helmet cam on one of the female athletes. And I thought, like, this is so cool. I'm riding along in the Olympics with these women, and to see them go 1-2 was pretty special. But I know they'll be back for more. And what do you think it's going to take to get back there again, girls?
Well, it's going to take a comeback for Kelsey. She's been out of the game for a couple of years now.
For the women's team, I meant.
Yeah, I think we have a really deep, strong team right now. There's a lot of the younger girls have recently kind of joined the World Cup ranks, and yeah, I think we have a really big depth and a young team right now too. I'm kind of the oldest girl on the team at this point, so yeah, I definitely have a lot of experience from both the alpine side and now ski cross to kind of give down to them, as like Kelsey and Brady did for me when I switched to ski cross. And it's really cool having a lot of younger people on the team too, because they bring a new amount of excitement to training. Everything's new, all the new race venues, it's all, you know, brand new and exciting to them. So sometimes for the older athletes, you know, it kind of becomes routine year after year. So to have that excitement is really beneficial to me, and I think I have a lot to share and to give back to the younger generation. So I think we're going to have a really strong team going into Beijing, and it's going to be a really exciting year.
Hey, before we say so long to Kelsey and Britt and Brady, and before we get to the big reveal, maybe first Nancy and then Brian, a quick word about all that we've talked about here while we have these three great champions with us. But just a final word about the great legacy of alpine skiing in the country and all the champions that it's produced. Nancy?
Yeah, for sure. There's been a lot of great champions, and we've seen the sport evolve and go from a sport that was really a fringe sport practiced by a hardy few 100 years ago to now where skiing is available coast to coast in Canada. And a lot of people are seeing this COVID year, we've seen more families out than ever. And to me, it's really wonderful that the kids in those families have heroes to look up to, like the ski cross team, who are such exemplary Canadians and just wonderful people. So again, huge thanks as a fan for everything you're doing, and we give you 100% support.
Fantastic. And Brian, how about you?
Well, you can see it here firsthand how inspiration has led to other gold medals. Nancy and Karen, me and Pod and I wanted to be the crazy Canucks when I grew up, and now the ski cross guys and para people, they just will generate a new generation of skiers who look up to them because they've won medals, and they want to be winners like they've seen on TV and the heroes that they watch every day and have the gold medals put around their necks. So when O Canada sings, it's been singing for a long time. So it's great to hear every time we get to hear it, and hopefully you'll hear it again next in Beijing and inspire another generation of alpine skiers.
Fantastic. So with that, I want to say thanks so much to Brady Lehman, Olympic champion, and Britt Phelan, Olympic silver medalist, and Kelsey Surwa, Olympic champion, and Brian Stemmel, who continues to be my partner at CBC Sports, such a great World Cup racer, and to the great Olympic champion, Nancy Greene. Thanks so much for being with us today, and we're going to get to that Peak 5 moment right now. Thanks so much to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so here we go. We're going to go to the Peak 5 moment now, and to make the introduction, a guy that has had a great deal of success on the World Cup this season, only 22 years of age, from Cultus Lake, British Columbia, and he has got in his pocket a crystal globe. Here it is, the Peak Moment Alpine Canada 100-year anniversary celebrations. Take it away, Mr. Big Reveal.
This is Reese Howden from the Canadian Ski Cross team here in Vézelay, Switzerland. I just wanted to let you know that I have secured the overall ski cross title this year with one race left to go in Vézelay. One peak moment from my career that I'd like to share is when I got to go to the Mike and Manny ski camp. It was a great experience to be able to ski and actually live with those high performance athletes and role models, and I learned a lot from them, and it's shaped me into the athlete I am today. I'm also here to congratulate the winner of the 100 peak moments in Canadian ski racing history, voted on by you guys. Now, the winner, Karen Lee Gardner. Congratulations. It's been an amazing 100 years of ski racing, and here's to another 100 years of ski racing in Canada, and I hope to put myself on that list too.
How about that? How about that? The peak moment of a 100-year anniversary celebration for Alpine Canada. That Olympic gold medal in 1992, Karen, that lives forever. Boy, do you see it every day? Do you see the medal every day, or is it something that's
I wear it daily, like when I go for groceries. No, I don't wear it. I've worn the medal twice ever. Once when I received it, and once for the photo shoot of that photo that was just shown. I really do believe that me wearing Nancy Greene's and being inspired by everybody that came before me is the message of my medal. It isn't. Yeah, I raced that race and that was my dream, but my medal is more about everybody else's dream. What can they do now? So normally it's at Canada Sports Hall of Fame on display. And right now I have it here at the house, but I want kids to wear it, adults to wear it. And to me, it represents dreaming anything you want. You know, when I was a little girl, I shared a room with Jody, who I should really thank for everything, because she's the one who was brave enough to knock on Nancy Greene's parents' door. And I hid behind my little sister. So it was actually her that got me in the door to play dress up to start with. But she wanted to be a nurse and I wanted to win the Olympics, and she became a nurse and I won the Olympics. And I know life is not that simple, but as a little girl, it can be. And that's what it was, a little girl's dream.
Young people have so much choice today when it comes to sport and in everything in life. And, you know, as people who love ski racing, by the way, I just want to say here publicly to everybody that's watching, I never forget coming out to cover alpine ski racing the first time in 2007 at Lake Louise. And I was going to work with Karen Lee Gardner, of course, the Olympic champion. And I clearly recall you tricked me into inspecting the downhill course. Yes, you tricked me. into going down the downhill course, which I did. I was never so frightened, but also thrilled at the same time in my life. But let me get back to the choices that people make. Is alpine skiing still a great choice to make, Karen?
Yes, I think any sport. I think so. To me, the word play needs to enter our lives again. It can't be just about daily exercise requirements and how many minutes on a treadmill and did I get my steps in necessarily, except when you're recovering from hip surgery, then my husband likes to count his steps. But we need every sport. I think we need to play more. We need to feed our childhood soul that's still in there. And I don't think that's ever more apparent than it has been this last year with COVID, where we're all stuck indoors and away from each other. And if it wasn't for me going outside in the sun and finding something to do, for me, it was classic cross-country skiing, which was more like a glorified walk on skis. I just think we need to play. And, you know, alpine is one of those things you can do as a family, all of you together. And yes, there's dangers in every sport, but I wouldn't change it. I really wouldn't. I loved skiing that fast. I thought that fast. I loved the adrenaline of it all. And honestly, it's about dreaming big and having fun while you do it. Like it's anything. Pick your passion and keep having fun.
Fantastic. What a great memory for me and to share it with you. And boy, congratulations. You're the peak moment for Alpine Canada's 100-year anniversary celebration. And I know that you, along with me and our producer, Tanya, and all the folks at Alpine Canada want to thank so much all the fans across the country, from coast to coast to coast, the hundreds of thousands of people who cast votes on the 100 peak moments. And we got down to one. That was Karen Lee Gartner's gold medal in 1992 in the downhill at the Olympic Winter Games. Thanks so much. Good luck to the Alpine racers at the World Cup Finals in Linzerheide, Switzerland, and the World Cup Finals in ski cross in Vaissonnet, Switzerland. You can see it all on Road to the Olympic Games this Saturday. Have good skiing, be safe, and here's to another 100 years of Alpine Canada and great ski racing in this country. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Have a run for me.
All right.